Well, hey y'all, happy Monday. Well, welcome back. So today, what I decided to share with you are 5 things that I'm gonna do differently with my indoor gardening setup. Because I only really do indoor gardening a couple of months of the year, even though I think I should start doing more at different times of the year for different things. I'm gonna share that with you today. 5 things that I'm gonna do differently this year in order to improve my success and give myself a better yield. So let's go check that out. The first thing that I'm gonna do different for my indoor setup is I'm gonna sift my peat moss. Peat moss is a part of my seedling mix, and you know, you can look through here, and even though I think I pick all these pieces out, I never really get them all out. So this year I'm actually going to sift my peat moss in an effort to really get some good fine peat in my seedling mix. And that's mostly just because little baby seeds sometimes will compete with a stick like that to do their emerging process. So this is one step that I'm going to take in setting up my seedling start specifically for success, is I'm going to sift through my peat moss before I actually get it into my mix. Now, the second thing that I'm gonna do to set myself up for better success in my indoor garden is I'm actually going to heat up this peat moss, because if you've ever grown indoors, this is really hot water, boiling hot water, then you know that you battle a lot with fungus gnats. So you could bake your peat moss. The Naked Gardener, I'm pretty sure I've seen them do this method a couple of times. So I'm gonna cover this up with some clear wrap, and then I'm gonna let that hot water kill any of the dormant fungus gnats that are in my peat moss, so that once I start waking up the peat moss along with my seedling mix, it won't encourage those fungus gnats to come up out of the soil and start flying all around my house. So that's number 2 of what I'm doing different in my indoor setup. The third thing that I have changed is I've moved my seedling shelf to this southern facing window. Now, that's not because I am hoping to get a lot of light to help my seedlings. It's more for the sake of warmth, because I really kind of want to stay away from heating pads, because in my research, if I get a heating pad, I really need a thermostat to regulate it. So I'm hoping, because I know from sitting in front of this window, especially this time of year, that it gets very, very warm. So that's number 3. Number 4 is that I'm going to be using 2 lights per shelf. Last year when I first started my setup, I only had 1 light, and it does okay, you know, but it constantly gives me anxiety about how much of the tray is getting coverage. So if you see from here, under the lights, 2 lights, the entire tray is getting a lot of really good coverage. And I could even move these a little bit closer if I just wanted to get super exact about it. So 2 lights per shelf. I did a video last year about these lights. They're only like $25 from Walmart. So I'm gonna start with these. This top shelf is gonna be for cuttings, propagation, and things that get really tall. So maybe I'm only gonna do 1 other shelf, so maybe I only need 2 more lights. And then, so that was number 4, is 2 lights per shelf. And then number 5 is that this year I'm going to exclusively water from below. In times past, I've tried the misting method. I've tried gentle top watering. I always tend to grow a green algae on top of my seedlings. And I know from this summer that I can be very, very successful with watering from the bottom in these trays, regardless of the container I use. So if you've got the little peat cups, if you've got your solo cups, if you're reusing cups that you got from the nursery, those are all good candidates for watering from the bottom. And it just really seems to benefit the plant so well. Encourages a lot of root growth to go down towards the bottom of the cup versus staying at the top waiting for that water all the time. So those are my 5 tips. The 2 changes with the peat moss, and the changes with the light, the changes with the southern window, and exclusively watering from the bottom. So those are some tips that'll help you be successful this year. Well, I'm not sure if you're planning on doing anything indoors. I've got a super great idea for my little makeshift greenhouse that I'm going to do outside in my tomato experience that I'm going to share with you next week. So you don't have to grow, you know, your seedlings and starts inside. You could obviously do them outside, but some of them, you know, if they're a little bit more tender, you might want to give them some coverage at night. But if you are growing inside, I hope that you found some of those tips helpful, and that you're looking forward to some spring seedling success yourself. And more than anything, I hope you have the best day ever, and I look forward to chatting with you next time.